Hai, Assalamualaikum. Jom kita revise sambil berehat. Sambil berehat pun, kita boleh belajar tahu dengan tengok handphone. Apa tunggu lagi? Jom kita mula. Okey, kali ini kita akan tengok resolving vector. Ingat lagi ke apa contoh-contoh vector quantities? Mestilah ingat kan? Seperti ini, iaitu force. Dan seterusnya, apa contoh vector quantities seterusnya? Mesti boleh teka kan kalau tengok gambar ni? Semestinya adalah velocity and acceleration. Okey, kalau gambar ini pula, apa vector quantity yang diwakili oleh gambar ini? Momentum. Jadi untuk video kali ini kita akan tengok bagaimana untuk kita resolve vektor dengan betul. Jangan lupa arrow melambangkan vektor dan ditulis begini. Alright, dan satu lagi, the length of the arrow indicates its magnitude and arrow head shows the direction. Kita ada tail and head of the vector. Okay, sekarang jom kita resolve. Tengok kepada X component bermula daripada tail dan ke arah head. Mesti lukis daripada tail and the direction should be to the head of vector and it's to the right. How about Y component? The direction bermula daripada tail dan tail bertemu tail dan mesti ke arah head of vector. Ini adalah direction of Y component. Okay, jadi bila kita resolve vector, mesti kena ingat and mesti make sure the direction of resolving vectors are all correct. Okey, di sini kita ada Acong dan kita nak bantu Acong untuk resolvekan satu vektor di mana Acong ada kawan dan kawan Acong nak tendang bola ini pada satu direction, iaitu pada direction ini. Dan kawan Acong nak tendang bola ini dengan magnitude of force equal to 20 Newton at angle of 30 degree. Jom kita resolve, tapi sebelum tu, ini adalah tail of the vector dan ini adalah head of the vector. Jadi, kita akan bantu Acong untuk resolvekan vector of force ini kepada X component dan Y component. Make sure bila kita nak resolve vector, pastikan arrow yang dilukis bermula daripada tail dan pergi ke arah head of the vector. Since the head of the vector untuk force is on your left side, so pergi ke arah left. Okay, mula daripada tail dan tengok dia punya head nak ke arah mana? Mestilah ke arah kiri, bukan kanan. Jadi untuk paksi Y pun sama. Okay, jadi paksi Y pun kita mesti lukis daripada tail, tail bertemu tail dan ke arah head dia, which is upward. Sekarang jom kita tuliskan equation pula untuk X component. So, Fx equal to negative 20 cos 30 degree. Kenapa cos 30? Sebab arrow warna hijau duduk betul-betul di sebelah angle 30 degree. Dan equation ni ada simbol negatif. Kenapa? Simbol negatif sebab arrow warna hijau itu arahnya to the left. Bagi Y component pula, Fy equal to positive 20 sin 30 dan nilainya ada simbol positif because the direction is upward. Senang kan? Boleh faham ke? Kalau boleh faham, apa kata? Jom kita buat example. Okay, so sekarang kita akan cuba jawab example number 1. So let's read the question first. Determine the horizontal and vertical components of each forces. So if you look at here, we have 4 forces which are F1, F2, F3 and F4. Jadi soalan suruh kita cari the horizontal and vertical components. Kita kena kira. Alright, but before we determine the horizontal and vertical components of each force, so we need to resolve and we need to draw the direction of F1x and F1y, F2x and F2y. Dan bila kita lukis itu pastikan betul sebab jawapan kita boleh jadi positive or negative sign based on the direction. Jadi kalau direction kita salah, sign convention kita pun akan salah. Okay, so now let's start with the first force which is F1, where the direction of F1 is in this direction. Okay, so this is F1. Now we want to resolve F1 into Fx and Fy components. Okay, so look at here, we have tail of F1 and this is the head of the arrow. So remember, when you try to resolve a vector, you need to start with the tail. Okay, kita mula dengan tail. Okay, contoh kita nak resolve X component first. So this is the tail and dekat mana dia punya head? Dekat sini, di sebelah kanan kita. So that, alright, the F1X should be start from the tail dan dia akan pergi ke arah head dia in this direction. Okay, so this one should be F1X. And F1Y pun sama, from the tail, tak boleh pergi ke bawah sebab head dia duduk dekat atas. So from here, so it will move upward. So this is F1Y. Okay, so now let's look at the diagram where the angle here is 45 degree. Okay, so I always try to remind you, look at the angle and the position of the vector. Tengok pada angle, angle ini dekat dengan siapa? Dia dekat dengan Y component atau X component. So in this case, this angle just near to the F1Y component. Jadi bila kita tulis equation, alright, ada student yang confused, siapa yang cos, siapa yang sin. Jangan kata bila X component sentiasa cos theta. No, tengok kepada angle. Okay, komponen mana yang dekat dengan angle, dialah cos. So in this case, we can write F1Y is equal to F1 cos 45 degree. Okay, bukan sin. Okay, F1 cos 45 degree. Okay, F1X jauh daripada angle. So kita tulis F1X equal to F1 sin 45 degree. Now look at to the direction. Since F1Y is upward, so the value here is positive. And since F1X is to the right, so the value here is positive. So let's highlight. So this one is positive and this is also positive. Kalau direction F1X ini ke kiri, then nilainya akan jadi negatif. Same goes to F1Y. If the direction is downward, then the value here should be negative. Now we can substitute all the values since the value of F1 is equal to 70 Newton. Jadi kita dah boleh mula kira. Okay, so you can substitute here where F1 is equal to 70 cos 45 and F1X is equal to 70 sin 45. Okay, so take your calculator and please make sure your calculator is in degree mode. Kalau dalam mode radian, tolong tukarkan. Kalau tidak, jawapannya akan salah. So F1Y is equal to 49.5 Newton. Okay, and F1X is equal to 49.5 Newton. Okay, both are in positive values. So now let's continue with F2, where the direction of F2 in this direction. Okay, and this is F2 where it's equal to 100 Newton. And let's try to resolve. So this is the tail of the vector. So start from the tail. So we want to resolve into X component first. So tengok sini, ini tail dia dan ini dia punya head. So mula daripada tail pergi ke arah head dia ke sini. Okay, tak bolehlah ke kanan. So this is F2X. Alright. And this is F2Y. Okay, sama juga daripada tail pergi ke arah head. Head duduk dekat atas tadi, bukan dekat bawah. So F2Y tak boleh pergi ke bawah. Okay. So now look at the angle. So the angle is 30 degree and it's here. So 30 degree. So siapa yang duduk sebelah angle? X ke Y? Okay. So kalau kita tengok, paksi X yang duduk di sebelah angle. Okay. So kita akan tulis negative F2. Since F2X duduk dekat sebelah angle, so dia adalah cos 30. Itu memudahkan awak untuk ingat. Okay, so here we put negative sign because the direction of F2X is to the left. So now it's equal to negative 100 cos 30 degree. Alright, and the answer is equal to negative 100 cos 30 degree, and it's equal to negative 86.6. So negative 86.6 Newton. Okay, so this is the answer for F2X. And how about F2Y? Since the direction is upward dan F2Y duduk jauh dengan angle, so kita akan guna sin. So F2Y is equal to positive F2 sin 30 degree. Okay, so it's equal to 100 sin 30 degree. Therefore, F2Y is equal to 50 Newton, positive. Okay, so this is the value of F2Y. Okay, sekarang kita dah selesai F1 dan juga F2. Jadi kita akan sambung dengan F3 dan F4 selepas saya padam ini semua. Okay? Okay, now let's continue with F3. Alright, so the direction of F3 is in this direction. Okay, so this is F3 and it's equal to 50 Newton. Alright, so we start from the tail of the vector and then we want to resolve into X component. So ini dia punya tail. So kita mula daripada sini nak pergi ke kiri ke kanan. So disebabkan dia punya head of the vector is on your right. So X component daripada tail pergi ke right. So that F3X is equal to positive value. Okay. And F3Y should be downward. So F3Y is equal to negative value. Okay, because the direction is downward. Okay, caranya sama jugalah. Alright, so now look at to the position of the angle. Where the position of the angle is near to the F3Y. So siapa yang akan jadi cos? Semestinya F3Y. Jadi kita akan tulis negative F3 cos 20 degree. Alright. Since F3Y duduk sebelah angle. And for F3X, dia akan jadi sin. Boleh? So, kita masukkanlah nilai F3 kita. Where F3 is 50 sin 20 degree. Alright? So, 50 sin 20 degree. So, the answer is 17.10. Okay? So, this is the answer for F3X. And how about F3Y tadi? So, let's write where F3Y is negative. F3 is 50 cos 20. Alright? So, F3Y is equal to negative 46.98 Newton. Okay? So, this is the answer for F3Y. Alright, then let's resolve for F4. Where the position of F4 in this direction. So now look at the tail. So the tail of F4 is here. And this is the head of F4. Alright, so let's try to resolve F4. Start daripada tail, turun ke head dia. So this is F4Y. The direction is downward. So F4Y mesti negative. And start from tail pergi ke head dia. Which is the head is on your left. Okay, kat area sini kan head dia tadi. Jadi kita akan tulis F4X. And the direction is to the left. So nilai dia akan negative. So now when we write the value. So let's write that F4Y is equal to negative F4. Alright, cos ke sin? Okay, tengok sini. Angle yang 60 degree ni duduk sebelah siapa? Dia dekat dengan siapa? Dia dekat dengan F4X. Jadi, F4X akan jadi cos dan F4Y akan jadi sin. So, negative F4 sin 60 degree. Jadi, kalau you ingat macam tu, lebih mudah untuk kurangkan kesilapan. Siapa yang duduk sebelah angle, dia akan jadi cos. Okay? Siapa yang jauh daripada angle, dia akan jadi sin. Alright, so it's equal to negative. So F4 is 30 sin 60. And then the answer is equal to So tekan calculator, negative 30 sin 60. So you will get negative 25.98 Newton. Alright, unit jangan lupa. So ini jawapan untuk F for Y and for F for X. So let's write here where F for X, macam tak muat kan? So saya tulis dekat sini lah. Okay. So F for X is equal to negative. Why negative? Since the direction of F for X is to the left, F for Y tadi pun negative because the direction is downward. Ingat ya, bila to the left and downward, so it's negative sign. Okay. So now F for X is equal to negative F4 cos 60 degree. Sebab angle duduk sebelah F for X. So it's equal to negative F4 is 30 cos 60 degree. Okay. So the answer should be equal to negative 15 Newton. Okay. So kita dah dapat jawapan untuk komponen X bagi F4. Okay. Jadi kita dapat semua jawapan. Okay. Dan sekarang kita akan jawab soalan nombor 2. Calculate the magnitude of the resultant force for each component. Okay. So kita nak kira resultant force for each component. Okay. Jadi kalau kita baca soalan betul-betul, resultant force for each component, okay, maknanya dia nak resultant force untuk X and Y component. Kalau soalan tanya resultant force, kita kena cari resultant force lah. Kalau resultant force for each component, maknanya kita nak cari total force in X component and total force in Y component. Okay, so now let's start with the resultant force in X component. Okay, so saya letak X lah sebab kita nak cari resultant force for X component. So, kita mesti tulis totalkan F1X plus F2X plus F3X plus F4X. Jangan campur-campurkan X dengan Y. Tak boleh sebab kita nak cari resultant force for X only. Okay. So, since we have all the values for F1X, F2X, F3X and F4X, masukkan saja nilainya. Tapi jangan tinggalkan negative sign. Sebab itu saya kata resolving vector sangat penting direction bila melibatkan positive and negative value. Okay. So since F1X is equal to 49.5. So let's put the value here 49.5. Alright. Plus F2X is negative. Alright. Negative 86.6 plus F3X, where the value of F3X is positive 17.10. Alright, and plus the last one is F4X, which is negative 15. Okay, so let's calculate. So that resultant force for X component is equal to negative 35 Newton. Okay, so this is the answer. And how about resultant force for Y component? So let's use the red color. Okay, same like before. So F1Y plus F2Y plus F3Y plus F4Y. Alright, so now F1Y. So what is the value of F1Y just now? 49.5. So please check your answer. Okay, so F2Y is positive 50 plus F3Y is negative 46.98 plus F4Y is equal to negative 25.98. Okay, so the total or the resultant force for Y component is equal to 26.54 Newton. Alright, so this is the answer. Jadi kalau soalan kata resultant force for each component, cukup sampai ini sajalah. Kita cari untuk X dan untuk Y. Okay, tapi kalau kita nak cari resultant force, soalan kata resultant force sahaja, Okay, maknanya kita nak combinekan X dan Y. So, the formula for the resultant force, remember, square root total Fx, okay, squared plus total Fy squared. Okay, kita dah cari tadi kan, total Fx and total Fy. So, we can find lah, just substitute. Total Fx is negative 35 squared plus total Fy is 26.54 squared. Okay, don't forget the square root. Okay, the space is very limited. Okay, so the answer is equal to 43.92. Okay, oh sorry. So the answer is 43.92 Newton. Okay, so this is the answer. Kalau soalan suruh kira resultant force, dia tak sebut pun for each component, tapi dia suruh kira resultant force. And remember, once we calculate the resultant force, okay, ataupun total force of the system tadi, kita mesti kira dia punya direction, which is theta is equal to, okay, formula jangan lupa ya, inverse tangent. Kali ni kita ada force, total force in Y component over total force in X component. Okay, so let's substitute all the values. So total Fy is 26.54 and total Fx is equal to negative 35. So I just put 35, look at here. So the angle is equal to 37.7 degree. Alright, so this is the direction. 37.7 degree ni above X horizontal ke below X horizontal? Macam mana nak tahu? Okay, ada yang tanya macam mana nak tahu. So now look at to the value of total Fx and total Fy. Total Fx awak tadi berapa? Negative 35. Kan, yang ini negative 35. So means that the direction of total Fx is to the left. So kita akan tulislah macam ini. To the left. Okay, total Fx. And if you look at to the total Fy, the value is positive. So, bila value the positive, the direction of total Fy should be upward. Okay, which is total Fy. Alright, so the resultant force is between total Fx and total Fy. So, the direction is in this direction. Inilah total resultant force yang kita kira untuk keseluruhan force yang ada. Iaitu 43.92 Newton tadi. Okay, so at angle of, so this is the angle. Okay, so at angle of 37.7 degree. Alright, so kalau kita tengok ni, 37.7 degree ni above x-axis ke below x-axis? Okay, kalau kita lukis quadrant, semestinya dia adalah above negative x-axis. Kenapa ada negative? Nampak tak dia duduk? Ini kan positive x-axis. Ini positive x. Sebelah sini negative x. So, angle ini, direction dia adalah above negative x-axis. So, saya akan tulis dekat sini. Negative x-axis. Okay, jadi sekarang kita dah settle example number 1. Semoga video ini bermanfaat. Jumpa lagi. Assalamualaikum dan selamat sejahtera. Jangan lupa berehat sambil belajar.